Good morning, everybody. This is Ina, and today we're going to talk about how I made my clients in 2019. So I have been sitting here for about an hour because I've been writing down some notes. I really did some real tally of where my clients came from in 2019. So I'm going to share those percentages with you, and I'm going to tell you exactly how those happened. And also, I decided to write down a list of ups and downs, and I probably wouldn't have even written this list if it wasn't because just a few minutes ago, I got an email from someone. I just sent out a whole bunch of invitations for my new program for Be Found, which starts January 14th. If you wanted to get an invitation or you were thinking about starting your website and really doing this right in 2020, and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't get an invitation, send me a message because if you really want to be there, you probably belong there. Okay, so I just finished sending out a bunch of invitations for the program. And for an info session that I'm giving, a private info session that I'm giving later this week. And I made a mistake. I invited someone who had unsubscribed from my mailing list. That's a big no-no, guys. If somebody unsubscribes, you don't contact them anymore, okay? Legally. Like, you should just make that address disappear. But with the way that I do this is I actually purge everybody who unsubscribes from my list. I purge their information at the end of the month. And it's not the end of the month yet, so they were still in my database. And they had been active before. We had conversations before. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to send her a message. And I did. I sent her a message inviting her to the program, telling her, hey, I checked out your online presence. I feel like these are the ways that we can make it better. So I would love to see you in that program. Come to the info session, find out more about it. And she responded. The message at his face, was appreciative. Thank you for the invitation. At the same time, she felt a little bit defensive. She was like, I'm fine. I don't need you. In fact, I'm following somebody else. Thank you and have a good year. And I'm going to tell you something. Like, she's totally entitled to doing anything she wants with her life, right? Just like you guys are. Nobody is making you hostage to listening to this podcast or to watching these videos or anything. And I totally respect the fact that there's a big marketplace and you should go and find somebody that inspires you. That's the way that I feel. But I'm going to tell you something from a human being to a human being perspective. Number one, I felt really bad about my mistake. She had already unsubscribed. She had already done her job of not following me. So I shouldn't have sent that email in the first place. And I'm going to tell you something that unsubscribes, and I know because I hear this from my own clients, unsubscribe hurts, right? The unsubscribes is like, why are you leaving me, right? And having made this mistake with this particular, not even a client, with this particular community member who I appreciated and I really felt like, I could help her. It made my insights hurt a little bit. And when that happened, I'm like here, talking myself out of all of these emotions, right? I'm here talking myself out of it. Like, well, Ina, you're the one who made the mistake, right? Is like going to somebody who is, did not find your information particularly useful. She found somebody else. That is totally fine. I'm totally cool with that. But I made the error of contacting her, and I shouldn't have done that. I really shouldn't have. So it all came from me. It was my doing. So I'm here talking myself out of it, and I'm like, you know what? I want everybody to hear me tell this story, because this is one of the biggest things that stop us from even starting a business, from even having a mailing list, from even putting ourselves out there, is this fear of rejection, right? This fear that we're going to fail, this fear that people are not going to like our message, that people are not going to like what we're going to say. And I've been doing this for 2 years, and hundreds of people have unsubscribed from my mailing list, and I felt nothing. I have felt like, you know what? I hope they find what they're looking for. Right? Like, genuinely, I hope they find what they're looking for. But this one really hit me right in the face. And she was not rude. She was totally polite about it, but it still hit me like, oh my God, So I want everybody to know that even 2 years into my business, I still feel it. I'm still human. I still, I feel bad if I disappoint someone. I feel bad if they don't like my message. I feel bad if they lash out against it. I feel bad about those things. But guess what I'm going to go and do tomorrow? And guess what I'm doing right now, even after feeling all of that. I'm getting back up and talking to my people anyway, and going out and giving a message anyway. And this is what I want for you guys in 2020, that you don't let these fears stop you. I don't want these fears to really get in your way of getting to where you want to be. Because guess what? Because I've been doing what I've been doing for the past 2 years, I have experienced things that I never thought I would, right? Ever since I started this particular business, which was February 8th, 2018, with my first meeting with my first business coach. That's really when my business really started. And since then, I have walked on coals at Tony Robbins events. I have been to Colombia to go whitewater rafting with millionaires. That happened this July 2019. I have been able to just drop everything and go see my pregnant sister who lives in Chile. She was visiting in Canada, and I'm like, that's close enough. I need to go see her. I was able to drop everything I was doing and go see her, right? I have been able to travel to Chile to actually meet her new baby. I have been able to go to conferences with other like-minded people, with other people that are doing exactly the same thing that I'm doing. And guess what? You will see that some of the people that I met actually turned into clients, right? Or I have become a client of theirs. So I have made so many connections. It has been a roller coaster of emotions these 2 years, but they have been totally worth it. Not only that I started out 2018, working towards replacing my salary. By the first quarter of 2019, I had already made the same amount of money that I made in all of 2018. And by the end, I'm proud to report I have more than tripled my revenues from 2018. So this was a very successful year. So letting something like this, right? These little jabs at your soul, right? Letting those get in the way, it's one of those things that you just gotta listen to, feel it, and then get back up on the horse and do this all over again the next day, right? So I wanted you to see that these things still happen, but I don't want them to stop you in 2020. So what I did was I comprised a little list of how I got these clients, right? How I was able to triple my revenue is by getting clients, is by doing work for other people. So one of the big things, and you're going to hear me say when I tell you all the percentages, one of the big things that I did this year that I didn't do in 2018 is I started to get myself more out there in physical environments, right? I started podcasting classes in Boston.com. And that is a website that you can go and you can actually go and see me live. I go and I teach podcasting for beginners. I teach how to create a binge-worthy podcast. I teach how to launch your podcast. I've had deals with different venues in the area, right? I have hosted these in my own town. I have hosted these in the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce. And I got a partnership deal with Staples, where we're going to be doing still more really, really good things in 2020. So the physical world is something that I didn't even touch in 2018. I thought, no, the money, the clients, everything is online. I don't need to go out of my house and get to meet anybody else. And that is one really big lesson that I learned in 2019, which is to get out of your house, meet people, because some of them turned into clients. So go out there and start teaching. I actually had a podcast episode all about how to create live events. If you go back to episode 67 of the podcast, and there's also a video version of it. So if you go to inacoveney.com/67, you will get to see the video version. I tell you everything about hosting live events because it's a lot easier than you think. You don't have to wait to be invited to speak at a conference in order to have a live event. This can be done with $40 in your pocket. It's that easy. So I laid it all out on episode 67 to go back and check it out. So that's one thing that you're going to hear me talk about when I tell you these percentages is hosting physical workshops. Another way that people have found me is online. So I just basically put Facebook, in there because I've either met them in Facebook groups or in my own Facebook group, or they found me through Facebook ads, or they found me through me posting about my freebie, right? It's people who found me online. Then you have all the people that I already knew before. Okay, people who were already connections to me on LinkedIn, and I started posting on LinkedIn, and they started reaching out and be like, hey, what is this about? Can I get in on that? Right? So those were people that I already knew from before. I actually have one client who I knew her because we worked together. We were like the dynamic duo. We were the perfect team when I was working in corporate. And she signed up to work with me. We've been working together since April 2019. She wanted to have as a goal to work part-time in July, and we made that happen for her. Then she had a goal to go full-time in her business by May of 2020. She sent me a message 2 weeks ago. It's December now. She sent me a message 2 weeks ago saying that she just gave her notice. She was able to make it happen by the end of the year. And she said, and I'm not bragging about this, her words, she wouldn't have been able to do it if she hadn't been working with me. Why is that? What do coaches do? Right? These are things that she would have been able to do herself, but guess what? Without somebody who to believe in you, somebody to tell you what to do, somebody to really put your feet to the fire, because there were some times when she felt she couldn't do it and she was going to settle for just keeping the same job and just doing something else. And I'm the one holding her feet to the fire and saying, nope, this was your dream. You don't start with the compromise. You start with what you really want, and then you work your way backwards. Okay, you work yourself back to a compromise if there is no other choice. But no, you don't start with a compromise just because you're afraid. So that's what a coach does for you, right? So she is super happy. She has quit her job, and she's going to be starting just focusing on her business starting right here in January. And I'm super proud of her. I'm super happy with her. We're still going to be working together through the end of January. And she's one of my biggest success stories. So super, super happy for her. Thank you for the like. Just a like. Thank you for the like. So another way that I got my clients, we were members of the same program. So this is when you go and you invest in yourself, right? You guys, my learning didn't stop when I started my business. My learning continues. I'm still a member of programs. I still sign up for new programs. Even yesterday, I went on Facebook and I said, I'm writing a book in 2020. What do you have on your plate for 2020? What are you deciding to do? And our good friend of the group, Amanda Rose, she sent a message saying, hey, I have a program that is starting in January. Would you like to hear more about it? I'm like, I don't want to hear more about it. I want to sign up for it. So I went and I signed up for her. I believe it's a 3 to 6 week program. I don't remember. Don't hold me to that. I don't remember if it's 3 weeks or 6 weeks. But I signed up for it right away. I'm like, I'm writing a book. This is what I'm doing. So my learning never stopped. I continuously invest in myself and in these conferences and in these memberships, right? And that's where I met a couple of my clients this year. So that's another way that you can meet people, is by putting yourself in situations where you are with like-minded individuals. Other people I met through referrals, right? Which means somebody else was following me on Facebook, or somebody else found me through a physical workshop and they told somebody else, hey, you need to talk to this person, okay? And lastly, through YouTube. Crazy enough, I did have a client from YouTube, which is totally weird to me, right? Because I use the podcast and YouTube and all these things as, marketing. But really, my funnel is funneling people into this group, right? So you guys can take advantage of the videos and of the Q&As and of all the promotions and all that stuff. So my Facebook group and my mailing list are really the ones where I do all of my selling. This person bypassed all of that, and she just scheduled a call with me from YouTube. I'm like, how does that happen? So she ended up being one of my star clients as well. So anyway, you guys want to hear the percentages? Where each one came from? What actually worked in 2019? Let's do that. On the top of the list, with 45% of my clients finding me there, was Facebook. This is, like I said, Facebook ads, is through social media, is through online marketing, through the online verse. That's how most of my clients found me, 45%. Next, physical workshops. So speaking live, this comprised an 18% of my clients. Not a small amount. The next one down, people that I knew from before who saw me posting on LinkedIn or Facebook, but I already knew them, right? So there was already that trust factor. That was 14% of my clients. Then people who attended the same programs as me, right? We were peers in the same program. That was 9%. Next down is referrals from other people. Referrals from someone that I had already met in a program, in a conference, through Facebook or someplace else, that was 9%. And finally, YouTube, 5%. So I leave that with you. The online world obviously is really, really powerful in getting you to meet the right people that are going to resonate with your message. And that's exactly what happened this year. 45% came from online, right? But the physical workshop, guys, 18%, that's not a small number. That's number 2 on my list. So check out episode 67 and start getting yourself out there. Okay? So let's talk a little bit about the ups and downs of 2019. What should you expect in your first couple of years of business? Well, you should expect, and everything that I'm about to say, you should draw with this brush, right? Which is that there is an upward trend in mobility, in revenue, in income, in opportunities. There's always going to be an upward trend. So when you're starting from zero, it's really hard to imagine these opportunities. It's really hard because you're like, who's going to hire me to do this if I've never done it before? Who is going to have me speak on their stage when I've never done that before? Who is going to feature me on their group if I'm not really an expert, if I don't really have a website yet, right? Who is going to do this? The way that you phrase that question, who is going to do that? It sounds like the answer is obviously nobody. So you're just kind of just putting yourself down with that question at all. So what I have for you is, here's what happened to me this year alone, 2019. I had programs that were wildly successful. I had programs who failed to launch, that you saw me launch, and I got 0 signups for. This happened in 2019. But guess what I did the next day? Got up and did it all over again. What's going to be my next strategy? What is going to change? Who am I going to target next? What's going to be my price point? Got up the next day and did it all over again. Rebecca, thanks for the numbers. That's helpful. I'm glad. I'm super glad that's helpful. Next, there were programs that I ran that were so successful that they got me my first $20,000 a month. That was an amazing, really high this year, right? And it gave me the confidence. It gave me the confidence that this is possible, that I can just keep going and things are just going to get better, because you just have to remember everything follows an upward trend, okay? If I had a $20,000 a month, I'm on my way to doing a $30,000 a month. These things are possible. Just because you met one milestone, the next one is going to be even better. We said goodbye to some faces in this group and in my mailing list. Like I told you in the beginning, unsubscribes are a part of this business. People who leave are a part of this business. And the bigger you get, the more trolls you get. I kind of dealt with my trolls in my first year. I had no trolls in 2019, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. I had no trolls, which is great. Very unusual. You're going to have trolls. You're going to put yourself out there. People are going to have something to say about it. Anything that you can think of that people would say about you that frightens you, people will say about you. What I have to tell you is that you don't care about those people. You care about the people who resonate with your message and who you can help. And those people are out there. And if you don't put yourself out there, you're never going to reach them. Ignore everybody else, okay? But trolls are going to happen. I started podcasting classes in Boston.com to create my own platform to put myself out there and get to meet people physically. Boom. Do that. Episode 67 of the podcast. Go and check it out. Do this for yourself. Next, got a partnership deal with Stables. We'll be doing more of that in 2020. I'm going to be telling you more about it, but I can't right now until it's actually like live and well, and it's going to happen very soon. Okay? I'll tell you more about it. But a partnership deal with Staples, amazing, right? Plus other partnerships that are coming up that are in the works. I'll tell you all about those later. And lastly, I more than tripled my income from 2018. So what's going to happen in 2020? I'm going to aim to triple it again. That's it. It follows an upward trend. So if you can handle the first year, my book should be called The $10,000 Year. I made more than $10,000 the first year, but a lot of entrepreneurs talk about the first year where they only made $10,000 in the entire year. John Lee Dumas made $29,000 his first year, and then he broke $500,000 the second year. That's the kind of numbers that you're looking at, but you can be much more successful. There are a lot of things that I'm not doing that would work much better in your industry, right? I'm going basically full organic, full just like me. When you feature other people, your audience grows faster. When you are really targeting the exact right people and doing it in all the right ways, you just blow up. So tripling your income every year, not too shabby, right? That's how you replace your salary, is by just not giving up, by watching that upward trend and not giving up. So if you're looking to start your business in 2020, I'm going to tell you something right now. Don't wait for things to be perfect. They're never going to be. You're never going to feel just right that it's the right time to start. All you need is the drive and the excitement, right? That this is it, that this is what you want, that you have a vision for the 3 years down the line. You want to be making 3 times as much as you made your first year in business, right? That's all it takes. Get your vision ready and go for it, okay? Next, don't expect everything to just be dandy. Expect a roller coaster of emotions, of revenue, of successes, and of failures. And I'm not afraid of the word failure, because to me, failure is just a part of the journey. It's not the end of the journey, right? Oh my God, there was a great quote about failure. Quitting is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Oh my God, that quote blew my mind, because it speaks of failure. Failure are bumps on the road. It's not a hard stop. So remember that. Quitting is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. So just don't quit. Just don't quit. That's the only way to win, is to not quit. You will continue to see that upward trend if you're doing all the right things, and just keep going. Things just get better from there. And lastly, if you keep going and keep evolving, you will continue to see that upward trend. So ride that wave. Ride the upward trend wave. It all just gets better from here. It kind of goes like this. Wish, 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 wish. And if you can't see it on the podcast, I'm going up and down with my finger, but ultimately ending up here. So that's kind of like my summary for 2019. And here's a message that I'm going to leave you with for 2020, is that you got this in you. You don't have to wait for anybody to give you permission. If you need permission, I'm giving it to you. I give you permission to go and make whatever you want of yourself, to make it really happen. You got my permission. Go and do it. I want to see you in December of 2020 coming here and telling me about all of your successes. Tell us what your business is. Come and tell everybody that this is happening for you, so we can root for you. Okay? So if you like this episode, if you learned something with this episode, make sure to take a snapshot of it. Tag me on Instagram. I'm at Ina Coveney, and that way I can retweet it, repost it, and say thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. And you guys, thank you so much for making this a really wonderful year, because the more people join this group, the more ideas we have. The more, you guys, everything that I did this year was because I was talking to you guys. I was talking to you about what is it that you want? What is it you want to hear about? What is it that you need? So the more people we have, the more ideas we have to really feed this trailblazing machine. So thank you so much for being here. And let's make 2020 your year. Let's just do that. So the program Be Found, it's closing its doors December 31st. That's it. No more chance to sign up. That is it. Unless you got that personal invitation that I was telling you guys about. If you didn't get an invitation, send me a message. Because if you really want to be there in the info session that I'm hosting on Thursday, January 2nd, then you probably belong there. So let me know. Other than that, to apply for the Be Found program, go to inacoveney.com/apply. All right, guys. I will see you very soon. Have a wonderful, happy new year. And here's to 2020. Here's to you guys. Okay. Bye. Yay, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to click subscribe right here. And if you're a podcast listener, go and search for Trailblazing Out of Corporate Life, and you'll get me through your ears. All right, guys. Have a great one, and don't forget, right here, subscribe.